One Minecraft world, 9 Minecraft players, and 1 person behind this experiment. But who? Well, to find out what's going on, we have to go through the channel by the name of Mr. Player, who I believe started this disturbing experiment on October 29th, 2025, with the first episode named Again. It opens with the player on the main menu of Minecraft 1.7.10. He clicks on single player, keep that in mind, and it seems there's already a world called name of the video. And well, the name of the video is Again. But what does this mean? If we keep watching, he creates a new world, and instead of a normal name, it's a bunch of jumbled up letters. Most likely a cipher, though I tried looking through everything and nothing came out correct. Until I realized something. The world, name of the video, and also it being one word. Out of all the ciphers, there's only one, called Veneer Cipher, and it requires a keyword to actually get something decodable. So, I put 2 and 2 together, put the cipher in with the key being Again, and it came out as this. So that's exactly what I did. I watched carefully. He spawns in, and already we can see something happening. There's mycelium and a fence post with a torch on top. In a single player world, the player starts breaking it down, then after getting rid of it all, it starts mining some trees. Until all of a sudden, a bow shot. An arrow struck from the direction of, wait, another player. And an already made base? Huh? Then a flash on the screen happens with text, just enough letters for a YouTube video. But we will look into that after. For now, let's keep diving into this video.
What are you doing here?
Bro, I was going to play single player. Fate brought us together again? Wait, brought us together again? So this already happened before. Though a few seconds later, the second player hits us with this question.
How are you going to control your personalities?
This struck me. I don't want to come to any conclusions yet, as this is only the first video, but it ends off with talking about how a certain situation requires a lot of responsibility, and I guess soon we will find out what that situation is. There's one thing I want to point out before we move on, and it's this house's shape. The player zoomed on it earlier, and now it might not look like anything crazy, but it seems to be in a shape of either an L or a 9. Though soon, we will find the answer. We aren't done yet from episode 1, as there's this YouTube video here we got given earlier called The Way. Upon watching, it looks like a player walking in a straight line, but then you start to notice the movements from across it. It's not just any normal movements. The player is trying to spell something. And after watching over and over again, I managed to get the word remontada. Okay, I might have butchered that, which stands for recovery or comeback in Spanish. This lines up with the description of the video, explaining that he uses this word to get back to his base because he gets lost. And for some reason, he couldn't turn his camera, which he apologized for. But now, we're on to the second video. And this is where the experiment actually starts. Assuming we are in the same player perspective, they join a server and spawn in what looks like a player-built village. He places down a sign and writes, "Hello guys, I want to post Minecraft walkthroughs on this YT channel." Then a few seconds later, my friend and me were invited to this server with a limit of 9. And for a brief moment, he presses tab and we are able to see there are 3 players online. Player 6, Player 4, and Player 3. He finally gives us a clue in which we are able to determine that we are watching Player 3's perspective. What's a little unsettling though is what Player 3 says next. He doesn't even know the person who invited them, they just joined because they were interested in this experiment. And not long after we find out that chat doesn't work on the server either. What kind of experiment is this? They're not allowed to speak to each other, and they are hidden. Player 3 starts exploring around, entering Player 2's house first, and a bit after explains that he is very quiet. They then pivot to Player 7 and 9's house, explaining that they are girl best friends, and Player 8 is a girl too. He goes back to his own house, and we get a glimpse of one of the players in the corner, which believes to be Player 4. He then goes back into his own house to grab a bow and some arrows, and goes up to Player 4, aims a shot, and misses. Player 4 notices, and Player 3 apologizes. Not sure if Player 3's intention was to hurt Player 4, or to get their attention. Either way, still strange. But Player 4 decided to give Player 3 a tour of the house, and that was pretty much it for them. However, after exploring a little bit, he decides to go near the well, and spots something. A secret? He starts heading down, and finds a chest of a book, leading us to an Imgur link. And that's the end of the video. Okay, so let's go through this. They got invited to a Minecraft server experiment by someone who they don't even know, which hopefully we'll be able to figure out. And it's a max of 9 players. But why? They can't chat or see their names, but they seem to know who is who. And each of the players have their own house, like it's a little town/village, as the name suggests. Then near the end of the video, the player finds an entrance in the well that leads to an Imgur link, which when typed up into Google, we get this. A picture of a bunch of players near it seems to be Player 7's house with the number sequence 13579, which is the players in the screenshot. But upon looking at this, I realized something. These are only the odd numbers. Where's 2, 4, 6, and 8? Instead of them being there, it's just ahead. Is this supposed to predict that they're going to be dead in this experiment? Or missing? Why is only the odd numbers of the group able to survive? Why are 7 and 9 on the roof separate to other players? A lot of questions still to be answered, but hopefully we get some clues as we move on to the next video. He joins the server and spawns in his house. There's currently 4 players online, 3 including himself. He decides to craft some iron armor to finish his set, and when he exits out of his house, we get some crucial details. The sign. Before it just said player_03, but now it says player_03. Not sure what it means yet, but I'm sure we will find out later. As we continue, the player goes to say hi to player 9, and if we look at the signs again, it seems like every single sign has a letter at the start. He leaves the area to shear some sheep, but not long after we see a sign on the bridge. Dear friends, I'm sorry, it's an accident. This must relate to a sign I saw earlier on Player 5's house that some other player put up saying, why is he destroying everything? But let's look past that, doesn't seem that important, because we are about to get some crazy answers. While our player is on the bridge, just in the corner of his eye, he spots a hidden sign. So he goes to check it out, and would you look at that, another Imgur link. Seems like the player doesn't know what it is. However, I searched it up, and it showed this. A screenshot stating the dossier of all the players in the experiment, with a list of names, and these names obviously identify to each sign's starting letter. And if we link them together, wait, there's a problem. But why? Well, there's a lot of names that have the same letter as the other one, and just because we can see the first starting letter doesn't help us in matching it up correctly. How are we supposed to know which is which? Who is who? So for now, I kinda just ignored it, assuming we didn't really need to know everyone's name. The next thing I wanted to solve was the Morse code, which was pretty easy. It translates to all files removed. Wait, we are missing a word. Luckily on the screenshot, there's still a couple more things to solve. Another Imgur link and a date. And when we search up the Imgur link again, we are taken to a similar screenshot. We've seen this before, but not with red X's crossed out. So what? I was right? These players are eliminated from the experiment? Well, I'm not quite sure, considering they seem to still exist, but what really helped us was the text under it, just server. I was thinking, let's combine this with the Morse code we got earlier, and we might get a message. All server files removed. At first I didn't understand what it meant, But I went back to the Imago link and looked at the date, 28th October 2025. There has to be a reason it's here. Why is this important? Well, if we look at when the channel started, it was around the 29th of October, right? A day after the date on the dossier, which means this was already going before we saw the first video. The data from these people were being recorded before they were even in the experiment. I think I'm understanding something, but I can't come to a final conclusion just yet. It will all connect soon, I know it will. Though, the video still isn't over. There was a video from a player with a strange nickname. My friend from the server told me to create a YT channel and post all the strange stuff. I don't know where I got the first video from, but I decided to post. That one sentence got me thinking though. Throughout this holiday ARG, the first video seemed to be pretty important. Like, too important. We are met with a POV of player 2, but this isn't a normal video, so I'm gonna let this play out. There's not really much to get from this video, apart from the end where there's a weird glitch happening, but that really just doesn't mean anything. So, on to the next one. This video title, Without Escape, is interesting. The glance of looking at the sign makes me wonder what player 3 is really thinking. It seems like player 3 wants to get rid of it. Clearly, he wants to escape. But in the midst of an experiment, there is no escape. The sunset goes down, and the player decides to head to the dock near player 4's house. So, I'm alone on this server right now. No one seemed to join the server today. Kinda weird out of 9 players. Well, at least they aren't forced to join every day as an experiment rule. But clearly player 3 doesn't want that. He wants friends. And with all the build-up anger, he decides to let it out by burning player 4's house. Well, he quickly regretted that. For no reason? Like, does player 3 not even care if he burns his friend's house? Does he not understand how upset player 4 would be? Then everything clocked. I get it. As you can tell, this video is different to the rest, as the player starts in the Nether. Attacking pigmen, probably not the best choice, but fair enough. The player goes back through the portal and places a sign that says, just 2 players, me and 4. That's interesting, because I could have sworn that player 3 had some sort of beef or anger with player 4 in the last episode, and now they're the only people on the server? Well, let's see what goes down. The player walks over and sees a bunch of cake placed down. It seems like it was one of those players' birthdays today, and for some reason a separate chair from the rest, who is a loser? By the way player 3 moves, I'm going to assume it's him who had to be separated from the birthday table. That's very strange, but anyway. He continues going around and we start to realize that the village got an upgrade, showing chimneys and a house more than 1 story. Player 3 decides to walk inside his house and change some settings, but when he does doing so, he places a sign. I like this server so much. And just after that, he goes outside and we start to notice something. Player 4's house is gone. Nowhere to be found. Eliminated from the experiment. How is that even possible? It was just there a minute ago. Player 3 is confused on what just happened and jumps in the water to see if anything remains, but all is vanished. That marks the end of episode 6. The dots are connecting, as this video is called Memory for a reason, to commemorate the loss of player 4. All the players online start writing their words and memories on the sign, and some of them just didn't make sense at all. But we move on, and player 3 goes to player 1 past what looks like a blocked well. Maybe we'll get to that later. Player 1 writes one of the players' names on the sign, which player 3 freaks out, as it seems it's a forbidden rule of the experiment for the identities to never be mentioned. Player 1 learns these lessons and remains silent, until player 3 asks about 5th and 6th and when they will return on their trip. I don't know, maybe tomorrow. And not long after, player 1 mentions the blocked well. You'd expect player 3 to not know about this, but he seems to have an explanation that's too hard to say. However, player 3 goes up to the well and this happens. Player 1 pushes player 3. Upon building up to get out, he stumbles across a sign, and this sign looks like a YouTube video, though it was unfortunately deleted, and we'll never know what the video was, and it will forever remain a mystery.
When your players ain't coming back yet.
A link is shown at the end of the video, leading to this. The title is Morse code, and when decoded, it comes out to he's a psychopath. But who? This is when we realize when watching this video who has been behind this whole thing. Who the true imposter is. It was player 3 all along. Combine this with the next video, Excuse, it is just player 3 wearing the pumpkin head, digging out a strange pattern. If it wasn't obvious before, it's definitely obvious now. But what if I told you that wasn't even the full story? It's me. He's confirmed it. We know now that the imposter is player 3 out of all the players, even using the pumpkin head to symbolize his kills. But that's not all. What if I said that every single player around him didn't even exist. If we go back to the first episode again, there was a question asked from the other player.
How are you going to control your personalities?
At first, that actually confused me, but now it makes a lot of sense. There's only one reason he would ask that in the first place. This whole experiment from the beginning wasn't even real. He never had any friends, and he imagined all of this, the players, everything. That's why they were hidden, and he knew who some of them were consciously. They are all his personalities. I even found an article that really explains what this player suffers, and it's called ordinal linguistic personification, which makes sense why they associate numbers to personalities. Also, the fact that players were just vanishing and he was having memories kinda backs up the fact that they were imaginary. If you have any other theories about this, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.